What's going on, YouTube? Here is my long-awaited new project. I've got 2 lengths of 4-inch pipe, and we are going to make another hydro tube. Only this time, it's going to be a hydro tube, not a aquaponic hydroponic type tube. This is going to be straight hydroponics. I've got my bucket in the background here, which has been rinsed out repeatedly, because as you can see, it's dichlor, and that's dichloroS triazothione or whatever. Yeah, it just kills organic matter. So what's it do? Break the cell wall and then dissolve the cell from the inside out or something like that, and oxidizes it, and then it becomes airborne. That's why you smell chlorine. Blah blah blah. I got too much knowledge about chlorine. So anyway, I got an extra bucket here that's been rinsed out really good. Got a net cup here. I should have more arriving tomorrow, and I've got my pipe. So this is pretty much the design. I've got my end caps here, and it's just regular old standard end caps. They had a rubber one. Okay, so I'm using 4-inch pipe. There is 2 different kinds of 4-inch pipe for everybody out there. Before you get into your I'm gonna do that too kind of thing, and you have to decide which way you're gonna go. I went with, this is, see how thin this is? This is like Schedule 80. Does it say Schedule 80 on here? Because regular pipe is Schedule 40. It does not say on here. But it does say sewer pipe. You can see that, sewer pipe. So this is what they call drain pipe. And then you have your thick-walled, because you know, with PVC, you've Schedule 40, that's the thick stuff that you use. Here, I think I have some right here actually. That's conduit, but it's still Schedule 80. You can see how thick that wall is, and that's made for like high pressure and stuff like that. Same thing with the 4-inch pipe, except that's just regular 4-inch pipe. This is drain pipe, so it's thinner wall, and the fittings are different. You can't just go grab 4-inch fittings and throw them on this stuff. Why did I go with this stuff over the other stuff? Where I'm at, these 10-foot sticks are, I forget, $10 and some change. The real 4-inch pipe, the thick-walled stuff, is like $16 10-foot length. So you just got to figure out, and the fittings are way more. Like this assembly right here was like, I think $2.50, and I think this piece was like $4.50 or something like that. Same thing, only with the thicker walled stuff. It's like the cap is, oh geez, I forget. It's like $4 or $5, or maybe it was like $3 or something like that. And then this piece is like $7 or something like that. It's pretty daggone crazy if you ask me. So I took the drain route. So that's a big tip right there if you're gonna try to do some kind of hydroponic or aquaponic or anything with these tubes. So, or if you just don't care about money, then hey, do what you want. Anyway, so I've made my first cut. What I did was I've got a 10-foot stick, which means they, let's see here, they put a bell on the end. If you can see that, it gets bigger. This is actually made so that you can interconnect these things. This will actually fit right in there, and bam, you got another continuous piece. It's like a free coupler that comes with it. Bad news is, nice free coupler here is taking up 4 inches of my 10 feet. So I don't have 10 feet anymore, because I have to cut this coupler off to make one of these end fittings fit on. So I don't actually have 10 feet. So it's gonna be 9 feet and some change. So that's another thing to think about if you're gonna do one of these kind of projects. So what I did, I figure 1 foot per plant is pretty good. I really wanna squeeze them more, but I think 1 foot is gonna be good. I may redo this in a second, and maybe it'll be, you know, 10 inches or something like that. But as you can see, it's made so the cups will fit right in here, as well as these. One thing that sucks is on the sides, you've got this little gap here and stuff, and you might get some algae starting to form. So maybe go heavy on the rock, or maybe even get some kind of like cover to go over this. I don't know. That's something to think about. But if you come in here and you look, nice little distance there from the bottom of the cup to the bottom of the pipe. So that's one thing. And when you look with the cup, same thing. It's I gotta clean all that plastic out of there, but I got many more holes to cut. So, but that's the whole idea. I wanted enough room for the water to go underneath of it, and you can see just barely. I mean, it's not a lot of room or anything, but more importantly, where the holes are way up high, there. So hopefully the water level can go up and go around these cups. That's another great tip. Whenever you're doing this, if you're going to use 3-inch cups, I recommend 4-inch pipe. I've never used 3-inch pipe, but I have used 2-inch cups with 2-inch pipe, and it's a disaster. The cups sit on the bottom of the pipe, and when the root mass builds up, the water can't get past, and you just get a blockage in the entire thing, and it's a pain in the butt. And then you got to go through and like do one of these things and clear all the algae and stuff out of the root mass and stuff like that. It's just a pain. But as you can see here with the cup design, it actually fits in there very nice and snug. So hopefully this will be working perfect. So the idea, I have 2 sticks here. I figure I think this is going to be my intake side. I think I'm going to go ahead, I mean obviously this cap will be on here like so, and then I think I'm going to drill a hole, and that's where my water intake is going to be. And it's going to go all the way to the other end, and then it's going to come to another one of these, and I'm going to, I got to figure out what kind of water level I am going to use on there, and that will determine where I drill on here. But I should be able to move this, you know, back and forth, not the cap itself, to figure out exactly where I want the water to be draining to. It's going to come out of there with a 90 3/4 inch pipe and come into this pipe, and then run the whole length back to my bucket, which is going to act as my reservoir for right now. So some of the other fittings, got some 3/4 inch 90s and some male fittings and stuff like that. My plan was, I don't know where it stands right now, but my plan was to use a male fitting like this. Hopefully I have a couple rubber gaskets that will fit that around there, and then I'll drill a hole in one of these end caps, and then from the inside I will put this through, and it'll come out this side. So hopefully that rubber gasket or whatever I use will go ahead and seal this up. And then I bought, if you go to the electrical aisle, 3/4 inch conduit connectors. So that is how I'm going to tighten it down. And then I'll tighten that sucker down, and then my female. And then that'll just screw right onto the male there on the outside, do a 90-90, and you're right back into the next pipe. So, oh, and more fun stuff, I got hangers. Actually gonna be a little professional about this. I did this with my 2-inch pipe, and it was great. These things are like $1 something. So, yeah, 6 of them. I guess it adds up. But I figure my greenhouse has a stud every 3 feet, so pretty much with a 10-foot stick, you're only getting 3 in there anyway. I think I went overboard. I could have probably gotten away with 2, but I figure what the heck? What the heck's an extra one there? Alrighty, so now that I have my first hole cut in here, now I need to figure out what my spacing is going to be. And as you can see, if you're looking, in case you want to join in with me on my mental evaluation of this, here's my next line right here. So that would be my next hole, and it would be pretty much about that size right there. So, I don't know. It seems like a perfect distance, but at the same time, you know, my mind's just sitting here racing going, can't we get it right here? That way we can get an extra, like, 2 cups in here or something. So I'm going to wrestle with that, and we'll come back and see how this sucker is going. Alrighty, a little update here on my measurements. Nothing else has been cut. But, so what I did was the first hole was 6 inches in. I figure that's enough for this to be covered and having an intake there somewhere, whether it's in the end of the cap or if it's in the top of the pipe, which is what I'm thinking about. But so my idea was, and then every 1 foot, because we're under, you know, I guess it's 9 feet 8 inches, so we're under 10 feet when I cut the end off. So we got 6 inches here. I was going to go to 18 right here, which would be 1 foot away. And I thought, what the heck? Let's go to 16. So I'm going to go every 10 inches instead of every 12 inches from the first hole. So the first hole's at 6 inches, second hole's at 16, 26, 36, 46, 56, all the way up. All right, so that is going to be my hole idea. And also one thing to take into consideration is if you have a chalk line or something of the sort, or some kind of good straight line that you can use to mark the top of it, so all your holes start at least on the dead center line, that would probably be pretty smart. I do have a chalk box, but I'm kind of worried of it just going off center, me doing it by myself. If you had two people, it'd be so easy to go ahead and just chalk a line on there. Even with one person, it'd be pretty easy, but I'm being lazy about it. I am using the wording. So I'm going dead center of the wording on my marks, and that is what I am using as my center line. So that's another little tip there. That's laziness tip right there, using the line that's already there. So, and it appears to be straight. I already looked at it, like construction guys look at lumber when they're looking for if they're straight or not. And it appears to be straight. So that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna get to drilling. Alrighty, just like that, got them all drilled out. May have to throw some glue on the caps there. They're just a little loose. Doesn't feel like it right there. Okay, never mind. We're going to do a water test. Then we will find out if we need that. I ended up getting 12 holes out of this. Like I said, start at 6 inches, and then it was every 10 inches. And when I got to the end, this is an end here, I just kind of figured out where it would be good as opposed to this cap here, and squeezed all three of these kind of together there. So whatever I plant on the end there, I'm going to have to, have something that will get along with something pretty close. All right, so the next step is, like I was saying, I was going to drill a hole in the cap here and put the drain line. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think what I may do is on the bottom side here, drill a hole and then screw my male right into that, and just drop it straight down into the next tube and do that. But the next step is I need to go ahead and disassemble, and I need to get my hangers here and mount them in the greenhouse, figure out what kind of tilt I'm going to have on that. I don't believe it's going to be perfectly level. I think it would be much better if I had it at an angle, but not too much of a drastic angle. So I'll probably just take my level in there, mount one side there, put the pipe on there, hold the other side, figure out where I want it, and then mount that. But hangers, next step. Oh, and I cut the bell ends off of these pieces of pipe. You probably want to hold on to them if you're playing around with 4-inch pipe. My plan here is to go ahead, and right now it's just going to be like water come in, shot all the way down, water comes all the way back right into the reservoir. Yeah, that's for right now. Eventually I want this going around my entire greenhouse, so 24 foot long, and then make the bend, 12 foot along the back wall, make the bend all the way down to the other, 12 foot or 24 foot all the way to the other end and all that stuff. But these will come in handy. As you can see on the right side here, on this side, it's kind of tapered. I'm going to have to go ahead and cut it back about right there, and then I've got a free coupler. So I guess you get something back out of getting screwed out of 4 inches on your pipe there. But I've got 2 of them there, so I'm going to have 2 couplers, so that's pretty good, because those couplers are pretty darn expensive. Well, I guess maybe not with the drain pipe. I was looking at the regular pipe for the longest time. All right, so next step, we got to get these mounted in there, and let's see what it looks like. Alrighty, here we are on the back wall of the greenhouse here. Got it all hooked up. Got my hangers in place. Had to block out here. Throw an extra 2x4 here on the stud. Why? Because my center beam here is stuck out. So yeah, so this was the farthest point out, so it was easier just to block out than try to get rid of this or anything like that. I don't want to get rid of that anyway. So if you notice, they're kind of on a slant here. They're kind of pointing inward a little bit, not straight up. I did that on purpose. I kind of want to do that to, because there's all kind of crap right above it, and I don't want the plants growing into that, and I'm going to end up, pushing it up against, holding it up against all this stuff anyway. But, so this is the beginning of the design here. I've got my bucket for a reservoir. I've got a male fitting. I changed design. I did not do the way I was going to. I drilled a 1-inch hole and I Teflon the heck out of my male fittings here, and I screwed them in, and as you can see, it's not sticking up very much. It's only like 2 threads in or something like that. And I did that on purpose because I would like to have a time when the entire tube does not have water. I haven't even gotten around to thinking about how I'm going to do this yet, whether I'm going to use just regular timer on the pump, or if I'm going to use, I have sprinkler valves and a timer and all that crap. Maybe I'll do that and just keep it on a continuous flow, but it'll reverse. Instead of adding water to the tube, it'll just put it right back into the bucket. I don't know. Haven't gotten that far yet. I've just got this far. So, this one's hung. I plan on just drilling a hole right here, and that's where the water's going to be put in. I may do it on the cap. I doubt it, because I want to keep that so I can unscrew it and look in if I need to, or whatever. I don't know. I don't foresee me needing that, but whatever. I'm just going to drill a hole right here and just kind of put the pipe in. The idea is to eliminate as much light exposure to the water as possible. So hopefully this pipe is thick enough that it's going to repel the sunlight. This bucket should be, and you know, everything is directly in. This is going to be a pain because this bucket is a twist lid, so I need to twist the lid to get it out. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I'm thinking, now that I'm talking about it, maybe I will just go ahead and drill another hole, maybe back here or something like that. That way I can fill the reservoir from there, and when it's light out, I can pretty much see what the, you know, the amount of water in the tank is. But anyway, this is it, and like I said, it's on a slight angle there, down and back this way. Down here, I did the exact same thing. I drilled a 1-inch hole, male fitting, Teflon the crap out of it, and put that in. And again, it's on a slight angle, so everything I had to eye up. So this is kind of angling this way. I pretty much just put my finger down there like, that's about center, and just flipped it around and drilled it. Same thing with this one. These are all kind of pointing out a little bit, so, and same thing. Just drilled a male right there, drilled a 1-inch hole, put the male in there, and screwed it in, Tefloned. It's kind of funny because, you know, it's going to leak out of right here before it leaks out of there. But whatever, it's Tefloned. Hopefully these ends are good enough, and they're going to be good. We're going to water test tomorrow, because as you can see, the light is getting pretty low. And yeah, we're going to see how this actually works. So the only thing left to do here is down here in my bucket. I need to not only fill it up with some water and stuff, but I also need to add my pump. So that will be done tomorrow, and we'll come back whenever that's done. Alrighty, it's the next day, and tubes are up, everything's good. And I robbed this out of the indoor aquaponic setup that I had in the fish tank in the garage. And there's no fish, there's no plants, so it was just in there running constantly. So I said heck with it, and I pulled it. So not only that, but the main reason I pulled it, I still have another pump that I could use, but this one is practically set up already. I want my water coming in on the top. It's got a shut-off valve right here for the water coming in. It's coming down. I'm going to knock this elbow off of here and put this shut-off valve here, and then it's going to return right back into the tank. Got my hole already pre-drilled, got my hole drilled for the pump coming out, and just realized I wanted to do a fill hole so I don't have to keep messing with this bucket because it's a screw-on lid. And to be perfectly honest, I'm going to have to get it in place because the top's going to have to stay where it is because of all the pipes, and then I'm going to have to turn the bottom. So I'm going to add an extra hole and put in a 3/4 inch piece of PVC, and hopefully I've got a cap, which I don't think I do, but eventually I'll get a cap, and hopefully this, and when I get every single cup filled, or hole filled that is, hopefully with a cup at least. I'll do it for now with maybe rocks in a cup. That way it'll block out the entire thing so light doesn't get in, and we shouldn't have any algae. So I also went ahead, threaded, Tefloned these threads on the clean out, and actually I have this one still out, and the tip I always use for threading Teflon on there is you always hold it this way with the threads at you, and you always start here and go that way, because you're going to be twisting it that way, and you want it to pretty much like put itself even more into the threads as you thread it in. Yeah, blah blah blah. It's early, man. Alrighty, well, that's it. I need to pop this in here, and yeah, all I need to do now is to plumb up that pump and everything, and I'm gonna do that, and we will be ready to go. That's awesome. That's nice and tight, and this fitting didn't even spin, so I'm kind of confident that I'm not going to need any glue on this thing, but we'll find out for sure. And I could go in the side here, just thread this out or whatever, you know, pop it right in. It would probably look so much cooler that way, but I'm going on the top. I like good old-fashioned design, and I just like dropping it in from the top. What I am thinking about doing is maybe taking off this coupler, and then I will drill it out, whatever that is, screw that in, and then hook it up. Let's see how that looks. Alright, let me get at it. Alrighty, short time later, and we're all plumbed up. Got it all, well, plumbed up. Down here, I had an extra piece of conduit, so I drilled a hole through that in there. This was on the end of the conduit, so I don't have a cap, so I'm just using the 90 here, just to block out the sunlight. I did have to cut a hole for the cord back there. I'm gonna have to do something about that, but for right now, this stupid little warning sticker is kind of covering up the hole, so that's cool. I cleaned out the whole tube. Oh, and there was one other cool thing I noticed. Since I have my conduit on the walls there, which not much room for it, but it does fit with a hanger. So I was just testing around with that. Oh, look at that. There's a wasp right there. If this will focus. Almost touched it. Anyway, yeah, so it's ready to go. So now all I need to do is turn it on and figure out what kind of, start messing with my shutoffs here and see what kind of flow that I want going, and hope that this isn't too much of a head here, which is the distance from the pump. Actually, it's the distance from the top of the water to where the water is going, which would be here. That's pretty tall. So, and this is just a little tiny pump, so I may need a new pump. Anyway, that's it for now, and yeah, I'll have many more updates on this thing coming up, and later, well, when I first get this running, for the time being, since I don't have things in all the cups right now, one thing I am going to do is probably just take a cup and put rocks in it, and put it right in there. The water can flow around it and under it and stuff, and that'll simulate extra things in here, and then I can see where my water blockages are down there and down here, if there is one, if I need to slow down my water, and all that other fun stuff. But I'll talk about that next time, whenever I do an update on this thing, which should be sometime soon. Gonna get some plants in here. Alright, well, yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can come back and see more of these videos and stuff like this. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. Tell me how much you liked it, or a thumbs up, that'd be great. And catch me next time. We'll be doing something else fun. Till then, later. Alright, one more fine little detail here. We are going to need a new pump. That's my trickle coming in, and that's with this overflow off. That's full bore right there. So, yep, definitely need a bigger pump than that. So, alrighty. Or I need to move my water supply up a little bit, but that's probably not going to work because it needs to drain. So, anyway, yep. Definitely going to need an update on this one now.